Tier 1 Worldwide Air Ambulance Services. Call now.
Hey everyone, this is Keith Scott from Melbourne, Sydney, Australia. I'm one of the voices of Bull Eagle J. Ross. It's time to watch Relentless and Unstoppable. And so give it up for your main hosts, Douglas Kelly and Andy McPhee.
Hey everybody, this is Doug Kenny from Relentless and Unstoppable. I'd like to welcome you to Season 7 of the next season of RNU. I'm looking forward to presenting some nice, amazing guests for everyone, as I always have a pleasure to do. Everybody enjoy this great year of 2026 in the RNU channel. Hey everybody, this is Doug Kenny from Relentless and Unstoppable, and I'm here with my buddy Donovan. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Yeah, I see you're in outer space. Are you at the space station?
I am. You know what? I saw the background and I said, I gotta try this. So it's pretty interesting. I feel like I'm floating.
Woo!
Right, exactly.
And I see there's a couple wormholes around you.
Yeah, you know what? I hope that I don't get sucked into one by the end of this. So I hope I can have a good conversation. So
Yeah, I think with the kind of topic we're about to discuss, bro, it's safe to be in outer space compared to Earth, where there's a bunch of still resentful people in the racing community over what we're about to talk about, which is the charter system and the history of it in NASCAR. So, yeah, for those who don't know, NASCAR lost an epic lawsuit against 2311 and Front Row Motorsports and over some antitrust and monopolistic allegations that, although it ended in a settlement, were proven in court. And, you know, NASCAR did not emerge from it looking good. And Michael Jordan, once again, out of all of his championships, scored another major championship by taking down the leadership of an organization that had ruled it with an iron fist for decades and made them realize the hard way that they're not above the law, you know, and that was a whole saga that began over the course of a decade and became contentious in late 2024 when the lawsuit was filed. And there were strong opinions against Jordan, but in the end he got vindicated and so did Front Row. So yeah. What are your thoughts about it, bro?
well, it's like I said, like you were saying, it's better to be in space right now. So I'm safe over here. But you know, let's kind of like dig around about it. You know, these charters are like individual nesting pots of a team. It's a team, and they all have little contracts with NASCAR. And right now, these charters are trying to, if you want to put this in perspective, get up on the bully. And sadly, the bully is kind of NASCAR right now. So they're kind of fighting for this simple fact of where's our right for a fair contract of fair money, because a lot of these charters, you have people that are just regular people working the maintenance on the cars, and there's a marketing, there's a lot of things that go into this.
Yep, and for those who don't know, charters grant certain rights to certain teams regarding the revenue pie in the sport. It guarantees them whoever possesses the charter for a certain team will have their car entered for every single race. When back in the day when I got started and before that, it used to be that you had to qualify your way into the races, but now you're automatically qualified if you possess one of those charters. And the other aspect is, you know, the charters are important because they give you TV revenue and they give you exposure, they give your sponsors exposure. And back in the days before the charter system was implemented, it used to be that a team would start, but then it would go defunct if they couldn't get their revenue going and if they couldn't field cars longer enough for whatever reason it was. And so teams were heavily reliant on two things: sponsorship and actually making the races. And over the years leading up to that, we saw teams that were once competitive go defunct suddenly, such as Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, and along with Harry Scott Motorsports. And then we saw the Melling Racing team go defunct when they were winning races in a championship with Bill Elliott. We saw owner drivers, come and enter the sport, such as Robbie Gordon with his Robbie Gordon Motorsports team, and then Michael Waltrip with Michael Waltrip Racing shut down right before the charter system was implemented. And we also had other owner driver teams like Bill Elliott and Jeff Bodine Racing. And although they won races or were competitive, they didn't progress into the sport and become as big as they could have if they had the opportunity of charters, which back then wasn't a thing. And in those days, when you wanted to qualify for races, rain and weather was a huge factor in it because you can't predict the weather. And if you weren't in the top 35 in owner points during certain races, you weren't guaranteed to make the race. And even if you had the fastest car on the track, if qualifying was canceled and if you were outside the top 35 in points, you had to go home. And that hurt the teams in the long run. And during the global recession, it became a thing where teams would merge with other teams to stay competitive. They would sell out, go out of business, or they would just go bankrupt and never show up again. And by the time it was 2016, the teams were getting tired of this. We saw Harry Scott shut down his operation after he moved to two cars too soon when he was fielding Clint Boyer and Michael Annett, and then we saw Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, as I mentioned, shut down after years of success, and then it just was getting out of control, and eventually the teams were like, we got to find a way to save our sport and make it more fair so that we can thrive and give employees a boss to rely on and make sure they're taken care of while we're staying in the sport. And so the teams implemented the charter system, and that worked for a little bit. What were your thoughts on how well it worked at first?
Well, I like how you kind of brought it to the beginning and, and to the end where when this first got introduced, it was kind of nothing. And as you see from 10, 20, 30 years from now, as far as 2016 goes, that we have, there's a lot of charters. There's about 36 charters.
Mhm.
Each of them now have guaranteed rights for prize money and shared TV revenue. So like there's certain things that back then weren't a thing, and so I like it. But again, improvement as time goes on is great, and I like to see how NASCAR got their kind of check. They got their check in court saying, "Hey, look, don't it's not all about greed. It's about the NASCAR. It's about the fun of the sport."
Gee, that's all we have for Relentless and Unstoppable. So tune into the next episode to hear more amazing stories from amazing guests. This is Keith Scott from Sydney, Australia saying so long, and I'm smarter than the average bear. Gee.